Okay, good morning everyone. Today I want to give you a learning video with the title Speech Act. In our life, we always communicate with others using language, use our first or second language to express our feelings or to share information to the other people. Here, in this lesson, I want to explain the lesson that related to utterances that commonly we use in our daily. Now, we come up to the verb of sentences that purpose of utterances. There are three sentence types that common to recognize. The first one is statement declarative, command or imperative sentence, question or interrogative sentence. So, as the first one is statement or declarative sentence. When you make a declarative sentence, you have to pay attention to the part of the sentence, like there is a subject, verb, object, and a complement. If we see the example, the rabbits eat the vegetables in the garden in the early morning. The rabbits is the subject, it is the verb, vegetables is an object, and the garden in the early morning is an complement in the sentence. Same with the first example, we have to know where is the subject, where is the verb and object, and the complement in the sentence. For example, Dennis put marmalade on her toast. The subject in the sentence is Dennis, verb is the put is the verb, marmalade is an object, and on her toast is a complement in the sentence. The second one is command or imperative sentence. The first indication of a sentence is punctuation. Most of the sentences end with a period and sometimes an exclamation mark. Imperative sentences are used to issue a command or instruction, make a request, or offer advice. Basically, the people what to do. They tell people what to do. Uh, Commands will begin with the verb. If we use negative commands, we'll begin with do not plus the verb. For example, move out of my way. The verb is the sentence or in the sentence is move. And the second one is do not talk to me. Remember, you should put do not when you want to say when you utterance the negative commands. The last is question or interrogative sentence. Ask a direct question and is punctuated at the end of the sentence or the utterance, and the punctuation is the end with question mark. Like a complete sentence in English, an interrogative sentence must contain a subject and a verb. For example, the typical form or a structure of an interrogative sentence is the first one, auxiliary verb plus subject plus main verb. For example, do you speak English? The second one is main verb be plus subject. For example, where you go? If we use WH question in interrogative sentence, you have to put subject and verb on the sentence also. And remember, WH always start first. For example, WH question, the first one. When are you leaving? Blah 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 blah. Like that. The structure of the WH question is WH plus to be plus subject and plus verb. So now I will explain about analysis of speech act. Some of the functions which are carried out using speech act are offering an apology, greeting, request, complaint, invitation, compliment, or refusal. A speech act may contain just one word or several words or sentences. According to Austin, there are three types of speech acts. The first one is what is said can be called locution. Locution in the semantic is an utterance. For example, there is a snake behind you. The second one is what what the speaker intends to communicate to addressee is the elocution. The intent of the speaker is to warn, to rebuke, to notify, to notify, to notify the addressee. For example, there is a snake behind you. The speaker intends to warn the addressee. The last one is the message that addressee gets. His interpretation of what the speaker say is the perlocution, how it is received by listener or addressee. For example, there is a snake behind you. If the addressee runs and shouts, it means he or she is scared. But if the addressee is just quiet, he or she might interpret and that is just a joke. If the communication are successful, the elocution and the perlocution are alike or nearly alike. Based on the Greece theory, such a communication is guided by four factors called maxim. The first one is the maxims of quantity. Maxim of quantity demands the speaker's contribution for informative as a required and no more informative than is required. In the first example of obeying is where are you going? The B answer I'm going to the post office. To the post office. In the first sentence or in the first example, B gives comments to the A statement without adding other information, and he just want to answer the question of A. For example, of disobeying or violation of the maxim of quantity is are you going to work tomorrow? And the B answer I am on jury duty, but I'll have to go to the doctor in the evening. I have asked the manager for permission. In the answer of B or in the example number two, the second example, B replies violates maxim of quantity because B does not give information as required by A. Example, yes or no. Instead, B give more information which is not required or expected at all. So he just explain more about the question of a question from A. The second one is the maxim of quality. Maxim of quality is requires to the speaker not to say what is believed or to be false and for which the speaker lacks adequate evidence. For example of obeying is why did you come late last night? The car was broke down. The car was broken down. B. Just tell the truth that his car was broken down so that he came late. For example, disobeying. Second example is the Tehran's in Turkey isn't teacher. B answer and London's in American I suppose. And London's in American I suppose. Here in the example B replies supposed to suggest that A is incorrect and B violates the maxim of quality. So she or he explain more, not like the expectation of the from the A question. The second one, and the third one is the maxim of relevance. Maxim of relevance is required the speaker to be relevant. For example, utterance that obeys the maxim relevant that the one violates the maxim. For example of maxim and obeying, how was your day? It was great. How was your day? It was great. B replies relates to the question, not talking about something else. He just answered the A question. For example, disobeying or violation is where's the box of chocolates? I don't know. I don't know mine either. In the second example, B answer is not relevant to A's question. B says something else which is not about A's problem at all. The fourth, the fourth one is the maxim of manner. The maxim of manner requires the speaker to avoid obscurity of expression and ambiguity. Maxim of manner demands the speaker to be brief and orderly. Example of obeying: where was Alfred yesterday? Alfred went to the store and bought some whiskey. B answer obeys the manner maxim: be orderly, because he gives a clear explanation where A was or where Alfred was. But in the second example is obeying or violation. Why was he arrested? He stole the money from the bank. B. B statement in the second example is ambiguous. It can be interpreted that B didn't steal the money which is stored in, in the bank. He had gone the bank first and he stole the money, and then in another place he stole the money, and another interpretation is the stole money stored in the bank. He got the money by robbing the bank. So he explained more uh, or disobeying or violate from the question A. Now, the speaker wishes want to now I want to explain non-observance of the maxim. In our daily conversation, we will achieve effective conversation if we observe all the principles stated above. Observing this, Chris points out there are four various ways to people failure in observing a maxim. The first one is floating a maxim. Floating a maxim occurs when the speaker does not have any intention or deceiving or misleading. Here, the speaker wishes to raise the hearer attention to the implicit meaning which is different from or in addition to the express meaning. According to Greece, additionally, meaning is called conversational implicature, and the way which such implicature is generated is called floating a maxim. People in real life uh, always tell the lies for different reasons. Here, in the second, violating a maxim, uh, maybe people want to tell lies to the other people because hide the truth, save face, feel jealous, satisfy the hearer, cheer the hearer, building one's belief, avoid hurting the hearer, and convincing the hearer. They believe that is lying is the natural tools to survive and to avoid them from anything that may put them in inappropriate condition. In our life, maybe we tell lies to our friends to make the friends to make our friends happy or to make our friends more confident like that. Come up to the third one, infringing a maxim. When the speaker has an imperfect knowledge or performance of language, the speaker here infringes the maxims like a young child or a learner of a foreign language who want to who want to be perfect in other language or foreign language. Sometimes the speaker infringes the maxims because he is incapable to speak clearly. He does not know the culture, or he doesn't know enough knowledge, or he has not enough knowledge or language of the language. For example, here the conversation between salesman and kid. Salesman. It is your father. Is your father here? Yes. May I talk to him? He isn't it around. But you just said he was at home. Yes, but this isn't our home. The maxim is infringed. The kid's answers are confusing to the salesman. Um, we come up to the fourth one, suspending a maxim. If there is no expectation on the part of any participant that the maxim will be fulfilled, the speaker do not observe the maxim. It may be culturally specific to a particular event. For example, hey Jane, can I have both number, and be answered, he's married. In this conversation, the maxim has been violated or flawed. Inference obtained from flouting of the maxim, which are called implicature. So here, from the question A, he just want to ask the Bob's number, but B answer he's married. And now I want to explain more about why do we have to learn the maxim. Maxim allows us to be more precise of brief in communicating by relying on much to be inferred. Maxims also help us to say things indirectly to avoid some of the discomfort, which come from saying unpleasant things directly or to imply without having the defend of you. After I explain about maxim, now I want to explain uh why do we know the maxim. Here there are 7 kinds of speech act from the I have explained before. The first one is assertive utterances. Assertive utterances deals with data, what exists or existed, what is happening or was or has happened, or either true or false. The generally can be verified or falsified. Assertive utterances, for example, we declare the most plastic are made from soybeans. The second one, I vote for Obama in the last election. And the third one is Bogor is 16 kilometers from Jakarta. The second one is performative utterances. Performative utterances, it is related to a performance, and it is valid is spoken by someone who's right to make them is accepted and circumstances which are accepted as appropriate. For example, I pronounce you husband and wife. We always see when the pastor said on the someone's married. Then the third one, predictive utterances. Predictive utterances is speech act in which the speaker makes an assessment or judgment about the acts of the addressee, include ranking, assessing, appraising, and condoning. The action viewed positively, like command, compliment, congratulate, praise, and honor. For example, I congratulate you for performing so well. The second one is a side ponytail. Wow, that's what's so creative. So it is we use predictive we use in a positive way, and it also the accent to beneficial to the speaker, like thank for something, grateful to, like that. So when you feeling blessed or thank about something, you can use the predictive utterances. And then the action view negatively. So the sentence is not always we use in a positive way, but sometimes someone or people use in a negative way. Like in the example, the action view negatively, accuse, blame, criticizing. But in our life, maybe we always use our words or language, our mouth to blame to complaining, to criticizing someone like that. And we come up to expressive utterances. And the expressive utterances spring from the previous action or failure to act of the speaker. Example, expressive utterances are thus retrospective and speaker involved, like acknowledge, admit, confess, deny, apologize. For example, I'm sorry for what I have done. I'm sorry for what I have done. We use it to say sorry to someone or to confess someone else. Now we come up to the directive utterances. The next one is directive utterances are those in which the speaker tries to get the addressee to perform some act or refrain from performing an act. And here, three kinds of directive utterances. First one, commands, request, and suggestion. There are three kinds of directive utterances. The first one is a command is effective only if the speaker has some degree of control over the action of the addressee. Example, you must appear in court next Monday at 10 a.m. It is like a command. You want to command someone to do something. The second one is request is an expression of what the speaker wants the addressee to do or refrain from doing. Example, smoking is not permitted in the lavatories. The boss demands that these letters should go out today. And the third one, the last one, is suggested are the utterances we make to other person to give our opinions as to what they should or should not to do. For example, I advise you to take my advice. The second one, we suggest you should pay more attention to what you are doing. We come up to the sixth or the of the utterances is the commissive utterances. Commissive utterances are utterances in which the speaker binds himself to perform, like agree, ask, over, refuse, swear, promises, pledge, threat, and vows. For example, I promise to be on time. When you promise or you have promises with someone, you can also make a sign like I promise to become on time, but you come late. And the second one, I agree to your terms. And it is commonly we use or common we do in our life. The last one is pathetic utterances. The purpose is to establish rapport or relationship between members of the same society. Pathetic language has a less obvious function than the six types discussed above, but is not less important. Like pathetic utterances include greeting, farewells, polite formulas such as thank you, you're welcome, excuse me, and anything else. Here the example. How are you? Have a nice day. How's it going? What's up? And you're welcome. Uh, so for the last, I want to make a conclusion. A language is not always a positive way, we use in a positive way, but in a negative way also. This is my at the end of my presentation, my lesson. Thank you. God bless.